Thus have I heard, once the Blessed One was dwelling in Rajagriha at Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a great gathering of the Sangha of monks and a great gathering of the Sangha of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Blessed One entered the samadhi that expresses the Dharma called profound illumination. And at the same time, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, while practicing the profound Prajnaparamita, saw in this way. He saw the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, how should a son or daughter of noble family train who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita? Addressed in this way, noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, said to Venerable Shariputra, O Shariputra, a son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound Prajnaparamita should see in this way, seeing the 5 skandhas to be empty of nature. Form is emptiness, emptiness also is form. Emptiness is no other than form, form is no other than emptiness. In the same way, feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness are emptiness. Thus, Shariputra, all dharmas are emptiness. There are no characteristics. There is no birth and no cessation. There is no impurity and no purity. There is no decrease and no increase. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no perception, no formation, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no dharmas, no I dhatu up to no mind dhatu, no dhatu of dharmas, no mind consciousness dhatu, no ignorance, no end of ignorance up to no old age and death, no end of old age and death, no suffering, no origin of suffering, no cessation of suffering, no path, no wisdom, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, since the bodhisattvas have no attainment, they abide by means of Prajnaparamita. Since there is no obscuration of mind, there is no fear. They transcend falsity and attain complete nirvana. All the Buddhas of the 3 times, by means of Prajnaparamita, fully awaken to unsurpassable, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the great mantra of Prajnaparamita, the mantra of great insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra that calms all suffering should be known as truth, since there is no deception. The Prajnaparamita mantra is said in this way: Te ata om gate gate paragate parasangate bodhisoha. Thus, Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in this way. The Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, saying, Good, good, O son of noble family. Thus it is, O son of noble family, thus it is. One should practice the profound Prajnaparamita just as you have taught, and all the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had this Venerable Shariputra and noble Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, that whole assembly in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, rejoiced and praised the words of the Blessed One. Samarayam he te ata om gate gate paragate parasangate bodhisoha Papa Gonchu Zonji Kaye Dembe Doji She Oba Doji Meba Doji Shewa Doji Dragi Baji Medum Samji Shedin Koye Soha Ngerin Donja Je Jo Shewa Dam Mito Nube Jin Dan Shewa Dan Dom Ba Jun Jin Bun Zon Zon Yo Ji Rashi De Jan Den Da De The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. Holy Lamas high, wrap the sky of your Dharma bodies in massive clouds of knowledge and love, and let them pour upon the earth of your disciples as we are ready, a shower of rain, the teachings deep and wide. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. Edam Guru Radha Mandala Gamira Dayami. Jodan Zoji Jodam Da Jancho Bado Dani Yazoji Indagi Chunye Jipe Sonam Jindrola Menjia Zanye Jubayo. Jodan Zoji Jodam La Jancho Bado Dani Yazoji Dagi Chinye Jipe Sonam Jindrola Menjia Zanye Jubayo. Jodan Zoji Jodam La Jancho Bado Dani Yazoji Dagi Chinye Jipe Sonam Jindrola Menjia Zanye Jubayo.
Oya danga suya tenshi chuma wa tenshi tandro de marga tabu ne tenshi chuma tangul ma ye tenku ji tenshi suyi tenpa lanchi sawa ro leba tonne beba toma ye kuba chenpe tenpa shinshi lo wa chulga ji tikwa te shinye tensu tenku yo sirwa shinye tensu karisi tenku sina ta tenne ye tenshi chuma ki tenda te lanok tenda chiba res chibi chungu lang, dik lang, chibi shimbi lang, denri lang tabi lang, saji kubo tubi lang to tenne yungu yaris. Denri lang to tabi lang to saji kubo tubi lang to she ne nyalen jebala te tenke keken yugu res. Wote keken yugu ba yesu to hongu del shinyen tenzu le dia to ten isares.
So if everybody wants to turn in the prayer book to page 29, I believe it is, you'll find the source of all my good. That's the text that Rinpoche is going to be using. Some like 30, I think, but you'll see 39. Okay, so you'll see at the top it says the source of all my good. So that's the text Rinpoche will be using this evening by Lama Tsongkhapa. So exactly. So everybody's got it. This text includes the same information that we find in Atisha's Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment. And it explains the pathways for beings of three capacities. The pathways for beings of small capacity, the pathways for beings of medium capacity, and the pathways for beings of great capacity. And those are pathways that lead to the small capacity pathways that lead to the higher realms of cyclic existence, the medium capacity pathways that lead to liberation or nirvana, and then the great capacity pathways which lead to complete Buddhahood. These three pathways are the main subjects that are explained, the three main subjects explained in the Lamp for the Path to Enlightenment. Therefore, you find them explained in this text. So the first stanza reads, "The source of all my good is my kind Lama, my Lord. Bless me first to see that taking myself to him in the proper way is the very root of the path, and grant me then to serve and follow him with all my strength and reverence." So the reason for this first section that deals with the topic of reliance on a spiritual teacher, or guru devotion, sometimes translated as, is because in order to understand those pathways that lead to the higher realms, those pathways that lead to liberation, those pathways that lead to complete Buddhahood, it's necessary to have a teacher to explain those things. So that is why the first part of this text deals with reliance on the spiritual friend, because it's necessary to have him or her to explain the content. Dixon.
다른 예바든 라지니베 대단한 신도 예가 된신시주네 예세고도 예불라벨로 주제 매바죠 신시로 되게 다제부송을 냐스래게 두제트 가르치고 그래서나 저와 제탄 저바 주상유 메이데서 단지고 그래서 어디든 거서스 말바.
So then the next stanza reads, "Bless me first to realize that the excellent life of leisure I found just this once is ever so hard to find and ever so valuable. Grant me then to wish and never stop to wish that I could take its essence night and day." So if one wishes to engage in the pathways for beings of three capacities, small, medium, and great, it's necessary to have a basis from which one can practice those pathways. So here we find the value and so forth of the 8 leisures and 10 opportunities, or the 8 leisures and 10 endowments.
어떤데 가돌 다든 어때다든 니 소바든 마 집에 중국랑한테 온 거라서 말이야. 집에 중국랑 집에 중국랑 삼바장 것도 삼바드 집이체 달라도 세와스 라린 집에 놀러왔듯이 사지 송제네 집에 중국랑도 원데 가돌용도 거라서 로수요와 주의 집에 집에 저와 담아도 어떻게 처음마다 받는 것도 시제소 안는 아주 시제소 안에 저와 심어요레스 시제소 료던 담아진 저와 심어요던 시제소 네 거와던 디바카르사요 바이나 와디 제부데 네 저와 심을 메우레스 료던 담아진 료던 담아던 말베 와디 시제소 거와사요나 게인 제부들 더와던 덴도던 하던 타바도 용그레스 디바사요나네 동에다 내송도 용그레스 르던 담아지 용그레스 워드 송데서 카나랜데 시진 정와라 네바데버니네 네비소 뜻다비 렌데 고도솔 네바데버니 네비소 차진 차와나 좀 본바다스 네 디바마고 차진 차와고 본 거와 저 차진 차와 냐솔레 우레스 워드 덴디서.
So the third stanza begins the section on the pathways for beings of small capacity, those pathways that lead to the higher realms of gods and humans. My body and the life in it are fleeting as the bubbles in the sea froth of a wave. Bless me first thus to recall the death that will destroy me soon, and help me find sure knowledge that after I have died, the things I've done, the white or black, and what those deeds will bring to me, follow always close behind, as certain as my shadow. Grant me then ever to be careful to stop the slightest wrong of the many wrongs we do, and try to carry out instead each and every good of the many that we may. So that deals with the section labeled Training the Mind in the Stage of the Path Shared in Common with Beings of Small Capacity. And within that section we find 3 categories. Developing the thought of a person of small, the actual training of thought of a person of small capacity. Second, the attitude, the measure of the attitude of a person of small capacity. And then 3, dispelling misconceptions related to a person of small capacity. So those are the 3 sections that we find related to the training the mind and the stage of the past shared in common with beings of small capacity. So within it we find various topics. So here we have bless me first thus to recall the death that will destroy me soon. We find this here is the topic of death and impermanence. Then it says, and find sure knowledge that after I've died, the things I've done, the white or black, and what those deeds will bring to me follow always close behind, as certain as my shadow. Here, there is a future life. And in our future life, from this life and our previous lives, we bring with us our virtue and non-virtuous actions, whatever we have accumulated. And virtuous actions will lead to happiness, will lead to the higher realms of cyclic existence, will lead to liberation in Buddhahood. The non-virtuous deeds will lead to suffering, will lead to the lower realms of cyclic existence of the hell, hungry ghost, and animals. So here, this then is explaining karma and its results. So this section goes over karma and its results and states that these deeds, these virtues and non-virtues that we've accumulated, that we've done, follow us to our next life. And then here the certain as my shadow. And then it says, grant me then ever to be careful to stop the slightest wrong of the many wrongs we do. So here to abandon the non-virtuous activities and try to carry out instead each and every good of the many that we may. So here, good, each and every good here is referring to the ethics, which are the abandonment of the 10 non-virtues, or the 10 virtuous deeds. Decent.
Somebody want somebody to be said, to somebody want to Jide Shema to Yeshua, Jide Shema the thought about Nishi, Jide Shema the thought about the Chandu the Lende Marva,
Lesser.
Chandu Lende,
Lesser.
or Lende could talk on there. Could do some like Johnson to when the Magitu to think on to some quarters, Marva,
Lesser.
Lende, oh, the angel of Dark Marva, Chandu the Lende Shasamba, Shada Samba. San Jodu Shatu, what the Trajin Tower not a bomb about this. Deba Magoa Trajin Tower, Deba Magoa Jubu Trajin Tower, Candet Bongusana, Trajin Tower not a bomb about us. Trajin Tower, Candet Bongusana, Yabuto Tongune, Yabuto Tongune, what the Deba Magoa to the Bongo is. Yabuto what the Yalamajena, Deba Magoa the Le. Donation never you are, Niwali chair never you are, Yedal chair never you are, Tonul chair never you are. What the Yabutoji San was Shadow Magina, Chanta Chayundu, what the Ne Joashaman of the Diva didn't able to lay words. What the Yabutoji San was Shadow Chevaina, Cocalegale, what the Diva Taya you are, what the lady is Amarba.
So then it states, grant me then ever to be careful to stop the slightest wrong of the many wrongs we do, or abandon the slightest wrong of the many wrongs we do. So how does one abandon wrongs that we do or have done? And one can abandon them by applying the 4 opponent powers. So going back to the outline, we have the actual training of thought of a person of small capacity, the measure of the attitude of a person of small capacity, and then dispelling misconceptions related to a person of small capacity. And that category of the actual training of thought of a person of small capacity has 2 categories: developing a state of mind that strives diligently for the sake of future lives, and then relying on a means or a method for achieving happiness in one's next life. So that last category of relying on a means or a method for achieving happiness in one's next life has two major categories. First, refuge in the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and then karma and its results. And karma and its results is broken down into three categories: reflecting on karma and its results in general, reflecting on karma and its results specifically or particularly, and then how one abandons non-virtue and engages in virtue after having reflected on karma and its effect in general and specifically. So in that last category, you'll find this explanation of the four opponent powers. So if there is no application of the four opponent powers to purify non-virtuous deeds that we haven't committed or engaged in, then those non-virtuous actions have the ability to give rise to suffering, give rise to the lower realms of cyclic existence, of hell, hungry ghost, and animal. So as soon as the causes and conditions are present, then one will have to experience suffering if there is non-virtue present that has not been purified. So this is how we stop the slightest wrong of the many that we do. This is how we abandon those wrongs. It's by engaging in the practice of the four opponent powers. And by doing so, and then also going for refuge in the three jewels and engaging in the ethics which abandons the 10 non-virtues, one is able to have a higher realm rebirth. But without the application of these four powers, we have this lingering non-virtue that will eventually give rise to some type of suffering if it has not been purified. But when we do practice the four opponent powers, these things slowly are purified and then eventually are dispelled or Dixon.
Okay.
Less so. So we're going to go over the four opponent powers a little bit this evening. Rinpoche said if you have the English text with you, then you can turn to the correct page. So it's on page 251 where we find the explanation of the four opponent powers in the text. So the four opponent powers, if we were just to list them in a very abbreviated way, are as follows. First, the power of eradication, then the power of applying remedies, then the power of turning away from faults, and then lastly, the power of the foundation or power of the basis. So we find those, if you're following in English, on page 252 is where those four begin. So an abbreviated explanation would just list those four. So the first is called the power of eradication. And this is having regret for having engaged in non-virtuous activities, saying to oneself that this isn't okay that I've done this, so I regret it. Niebo. Lesso.
나바 선지비 토들 조산 당고레스
Less so.
와드 칼레지 마슈데 마르바
Less so.
야
So the next is the power of applying remedies, and there are 6 remedies that are presented here. So this is, once you have regret for having done a non-virtue, done something wrong, then you apply a specific antidote to that non-virtue, or an opponent to that non-virtue. So we'll go through this slowly.
다 또 니바라 조세도 그 인상을 때는
Lapsar.
어디 야브레 또 니바라 조레스 도문도도 사물라 템바네 시신라 수빈 뒤 셀람바당 젠바당 로바 소소스 도도 사물라 템바 담브렌도다 네부군도 또 조나네 도도 사물라 템바 담브제 도도 사물라 템바사다 산스크리트당 발리 투네 베게 투를 주제 별 큰데한테 보드자요스디 보드자요와레스 보드 사말 고고요와레스 다때는 몸은 가지고 토고 말이데 당아주 시내게 되나로라 저지 바이보다다 네 싫어니부도 하수트라 워드소레스 사멜레 워드소 그런도 말바 워드소 령이나 노트스데 노티 단다산에 아부터 로바이나 워데 디바들 너너레스 디발레 동해진이 네발 너너레 내송지야게 네발 너너레스 워드스 인사데
And Tama Gari Sombre, the Nason Dungyo Pong Gar, the Tama Gari Sombre.
다 노트 사물라 때봐서 단도 사제가 노트서 그걸로 실내
Less so.
전다산다 로바이나
Less so.
어떻게 디바마고 주들레 동해진이 네바당 내송지야게 네바도서 칼레노도 그래서
Okay, less so.
칼레마 워들노도 그래서 그렇다
2 Chena, going in the maple. So the power of applying remedies has 6 specific remedies that are presented here. So the first is called dependence on profound sutras. So it says dependence on the profound sutras includes such activities as receiving the oral transmission of sutras such as the Prajnaparamita, retaining their meaning, and reading them. So this is referring to relying on those pronouncements of Lord Buddha. So in the Tibetan tradition, we have 100 books that have been translated from the Sanskrit and Pali tradition of Lord Buddha's speech. So there are that many texts that we have here in Tibetan that are the actual pronouncements of Lord Buddha that would categorically fall under this category if they were, if you were to receive the words, think about the words, read the words, memorize the words of those sutras, then you would be engaging in this specific remedy or this specific antidote. But those are very complicated. But if we look at a much simpler way of going about it, if we turn to our prayer book, we'll find that there are 3 specific sections where if we recite them, receive the words, memorize them, or read them, then we're engaging in dependence upon profound sutras. So we have the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge, which is a pronouncement of Lord Buddha in our prayer book. We also have the 35 Buddhas of Confession, which is a sutra, a pronouncement of Lord Buddha. And then we also have the 7-limb prayer, the King of Prayers, which is also a pronouncement of Lord Buddha. So we have in our prayer book these 3 very important texts that would categorically fall under dependence upon profound sutras. So if we receive the words, again, so if we receive the words, or hear literally it's Sik Lembo, which is receive the words, or hear the words, and think about the meaning of the words of the sutra, or memorize that sutra, or just merely read or engage in the prayer of that sutra, then we are applying this specific remedy. So By doing so, we're taking our non-virtue or any of those 10 non-virtuous deeds that we've previously engaged in and weakening their potential, weakening their ability. So those non-virtues have the ability to give rise to suffering and the lower realms of cyclic existence of the hell, hungry ghost, and animal. So by applying this specific remedy, we're making those non-virtuous activities have less potential, have less ability to produce the large amounts of suffering. So, and slowly they will be removed. So as a note, not all at once, in a gradual fashion, by applying the antidote over and over again, they will be purified.
Shishi samun do the samun la tenpa so the pen the song yo sang and the baba to go do the pei to le put jate and what the shibu the youngers jat the le la yo marista traba the and sende ga so na mo the so traba ton cha ni dans son temps de so sa le and the shuja ji ta pa le ji ta and prototo temps yongres chuzo nies lo an ni mi ngo she la ji ta an ji ta na an proto ja cha gres
Then Nyingkung Kala Tsa Dene Yanje Lo
shugi shuja ro baraba chuzo nies lo an la ju chuzo nies lo an proto ja sa ro ta ba ta so yo lo so kan cha gres.
So the Tibetans recognize the benefit of this dependence on profound sutras. And it's because of this that it's very difficult to read all of these texts. But there are occasions when sometimes 2,000 or 3,000 monks will get together and they will take certain sections of these texts and they'll have a breakfast and then they'll read these prayers out loud for 2 hours. And each of the monk has different pages of the texts, and then have lunch, and then read it for 2 more hours, and then the whole conjure is finished. So they're able to do this in those 2 sessions, and it's because of the recognition of the benefit of this dependence on sutras. And then also another way that we have this dependence upon sutra are those who engage in debate in philosophical inquiry, because they're also thinking about the meaning of these texts. So we find this tradition all over Tibet, and also not just so in Kham and Amdo and other places, and not just monks or nuns, not just ordained people do this. Also householders will engage in this recitation as well of the conjure. So they even though they engage in this recitation, their ability, they don't really understand what the words mean in these texts. So they're able to recite them, but they don't know what they mean.
Buddha. Listen.
The bomb nature jeton the guard the
Bon nature the momoro then the car luto calacabro. The car get in Kazans under the jetons under the lure. But the ane jaba ke tang lu ju sa.
Oh, less so. So these texts will be split up, and each one reads different things. So we have the various texts, such as the 1,000 Buddhist texts, which we find many of the stories and so forth. And then also the texts such as the 100,000 verse Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, the 20,000 verse, the 8,000 verse, and so forth.
What did you do? Tanga to what the moment of Lutuma, Tanga to Shinon, Yage, Tijipai Buddha, and High Sutra to so.
So it's very easy for us to do these prayers because right in our prayer book we have the 35 Buddhas of Confession and we have the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge. So if we do these prayers, then we are lessening or Dipa Nu, we're harming our misdeeds. We have an opponent, we're harming our misdeeds.
What the Jidon to Tony to be shared out and that no need to be shared out. Tony to be shared out what the dancing in Yaburota, dancing in Yabure, dancing Queen Alande, the shot of Hondotan, T. Uncle Luigi Deva, Naki Deva, Ejideva Sadu Urota. Tony to be shared out there, dancing no degree, dancing in the shot of Hondo no degree, Chiganashi Dungala Super no degrees.
Lesser.
Jetombe what the dancing in Yabutu to be shared at the shishing dos. What the Tony to be shared at the Luba in a Devatano. Shira Yabuta to zero.
So by understanding the meaning of such texts as the 8,000 verse Perfection of Wisdom Sutra, which we find also the same content in the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge, we're able to achieve the wisdom realizing emptiness. So this is the point of this information, and by achieving this level of wisdom, then we're able to get rid of the grasping at true establishment. So this serves as an antidote to this grasping at things as being truly established. Because we grasp at things as being truly established, we have these negative emotions that arise, such as attachment and hatred. And then, as a result, we engage in misdeeds because of these negative emotions through our body, speech, and mind. And by getting rid of the grasping at true establishment, we then get rid of what comes from that, which are these negativities.
Tony Lamaba said, Neba Marba, Tony Lamabas never, she does some of them Tambache, that Tony Lamaba Neba Marba, Tony Lamaba ne, da imagine Vesay, Chuni La Yuji, Demane, Taba Yichebos, what the Tunin Santa things at the Tunin Santana, Tujil Santaba, you know what the Deva Nero, Tachuna Deva Maduba. Deva Madrupal Santan from dancing and then dancing in Devatel in the shot of Hondotan, Deva to Sukalo, dancing in Devatel Marva. Tony to be sure dancing no and do, dancing in Devon Moon no and the Gray, Tea Devo, Dongetan, Nason Tawa to Sulno was whatever. Tony to be sure. Tabat dream I was able to get Tabat dancing Lona. Then I chuna Dema Madro Chevrolet, dancing in the Chris, dancing in Devo, the shot of Hondotan, Donget to Sulno. What the neighbor Yanaman what the 20 things that is.
So the next category is actual interest in emptiness. So interest in emptiness means to comprehend the reality in which there is no self, and which is luminously clear, and to have conviction that the mind is primordially pure. So this is thinking about emptiness. So by thinking about emptiness, we're able to harm our misdeeds, our non-virtues. So it's because that the grasping at true establishment is what gives rise to our attachment, gives rise to our hatred, our ignorance. So the understanding, the realization that things are not truly established serves as a direct opponent to the mistaken view that grasps at things as being truly established. So the wisdom realizing emptiness is what actually harms the grasping at true establishment that gives rise to all of these negativities. In the same way that if one was misapprehending a rope in a room and believing that it's a snake, the only thing that can get rid of that misapprehension is the correct understanding that it is a rope and it isn't a snake. So that view harms the mistaken view. So the view that it is a rope and not a snake harms the mistaken view that believes that it is a snake and doesn't see it as a rope. Likewise, the wisdom realizing emptiness, the wisdom realizing the lack of true establishment of things, harms the mistaken idea that things are truly established. In the same way that the correct view of the rope harms the mistaken view of it not being rope. So therefore, once that is harmed, once the grasping at true establishment is harmed, then everything that follows is also then harmed and done away with. The attachment, the hatred, and then the negative actions that we engage in as a result of these negative emotions.
타바 드르지 로치네 타바 드르지 로치네 오타 드르 소자가 시기도나
Less so.
스게 그러와 아니면 저는 시고 말스 타바도 랑체 말스나 그도 도와요 봐 타바 랑체 말스라나 뭐지 가르가리야 나데 타바 드르 소자가 시기르스
Less so.
타바 따네 드르 마이메데 시손노노
Less so.
타발랑체 마미션 드네고문
Less so.
어떤 나지 추는 대마마루가 시송나 대진네도 그러마도 네 추는 네 마타바 시송나 대진네고 말스 어떤 나지 대마마루가 시고르스
So, if one is in a room and believes that a rope is a snake, and because of that belief, then becomes fearful and scared that this rope, that the snake can actually bite and harm this person. If someone were to come into the room and say, don't worry, there's not an elephant in the room, that wouldn't in any way help the person who's afraid of this snake, the rope being a snake. So there has to be the correct opponent to the mistaken view in order to absolve it or in order to get rid of it. So therefore, the only thing that can get rid of the view that things are truly established is the understanding, the mind that understands that things are not truly established, that things are empty. So the understanding of impermanence doesn't in any way harm the grasping at true establishment. So it is only the understanding that things are not truly established that harms the grasping at true establishment.
다시는 포문가부터 다장 라지지 도만나봐야 다바주스 타우스 포문가부터 다장 라지지 도만나봐야 다바주스 타우스 시르니면 되도다
Less so.
어때 포문가부터 다장 성도 나한테 대바 마루고 마세 포문가부터 대바 마루고 됐어 가자그 다음에 다 추지 다음에 네가 된 거야 됐어 포문가부터 다장 싫어지 바로 되죠 봐
That's cool. And the Rinpoche.
我现在总是写了几把的什么日本们看了写了几把的什么时候那那我到现在碰我们大家讲了是多么那么让他们就是到入同胞反正是我这个多么的呗
Less so. So okay. Okay, so we have in the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge, we find this presentation of both the lack of true self as well as phenomena. So we have these two categories of self and emptiness of person and emptiness of phenomena. So in the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge, we find this presentation of these two emptinesses. O Shariputra, son or daughter of noble family who wishes to practice the profound prajnaparamita should see in this way, seeing the five skandhas to be empty of nature. So here we have the explanation of the lack of the kansa dame and chu dame.
Nika tensu.
Nika, less so.
Dame de la kansa dame chu dame nika ni yuares.
Less so.
Kansa demo matu de kansa dame lagres. Kansa maim chu demo matu de chu dame lagres.
Then the sherab nimpo nangla the kansa dame the Sharipu Rijibu Mugala Sharijibaru Shima Samachuba Jepa Dipa Data Danapa Japa Jade Pumongapo Dita Ranshin J Tomanapa Yanda Pajasudao, then the Kansa Dame Kaviare.
Pumongaba Tata Jangde what the Kansa Dame Temba is with it.
Okay,
Pumongaba Deba Maru Maze, Kansa Deba Maru Maze, Pumongaba Tata Jang Deba Maru is, Kansa Dame Chu Daminica Dema is. That Chenmo that you do the Deba Maru is Laguares, less what the Shirajim was.
The Deta Jang, then NGK, the Ngade Sampa, the Dejak Jang, seeing the five skandhas. We're just looking at the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge in the English translation here, and just trying to see. Seeing it and the five skandhas to be empty of nature. So at another time, Rinpoche said it's not important to go over right now, but I just want to look at the English translation in the Heart Sutra for us, because there is in the Tibetan, you have the aggregates and such are empty. So here we're speaking of both the lack of self and the lack of phenomena, the self. So when we look at selflessness as a category, there are two: selflessness of person and selflessness of phenomena. So this part of the Sutra of the Heart of Transcendent Knowledge is presenting both the selflessness of person and then the selflessness of phenomena. So the selflessness of person being the I, and then the phenomena being the mind, which are the aggregates. So these are this section shows that those two types of selflessness. Less so. Less so. So the Dalai Lama said in the Chinese Heart Sutra, we don't have this part where it says Deta Jang. So you don't find the selflessness of person presented in the Chinese Heart Sutra. So I just want to look a little further at how you would exactly translate that, because it would be something, the five skandhas and such, or the five skandhas and other Deta Jang. So yeah, well, I just have to look at the Tibetan words a little clearer, the etymology and so forth. But within that, even though it doesn't look like it in the English, because it just says the five skandhas to be empty of nature, there's a word in there that is five skandhas and the self. Diksan.
ngāti pōmpu ngāla tūni chūdu yōgāris, jōngā ngāla tūni chūdu yōgāris, mā tūpa rāngā tūyō māris, ngāti dāji pōmpu ngāla tūni ngā wōnyā tūpi pā tāsāng tūyō yōgāris, tāpala mā tūpa rāngā tūyō māris, rāngā tū mēpa tila dēma mā rūpa, rāngī jī tōngpa sēdu, wā tila sēdu yōgāris.
So the I is not truly established. The aggregates are not truly established. The I is merely established by an assemblage or a collection that comes together, a collection of the aggregates and a collection of the elements, and then is designated or imputed on this basis, which is an assemblage, a collection of things. But there is no I that is inherently existent. So here, what we're saying the I is empty of inherent existence. It lacks inherent existence. It lacks a true nature. It is merely an assemblage, a collection coming together. The five aggregates, the five elements that then are named, are nominally designated as this or that. And in this case, the I. But there is no I that exists independently or intrinsically separate from that designation, that mere designation. Diksum. So we sometimes compare this misapprehension to looking in a mirror. When we look in a mirror, we see the reflection of our face, but that's not really our face. Likewise, we grasp at the I and phenomena as being truly established, but it is merely an illusion, like this mirror creates, that there's a real face there. But there is no real inherently existent I or phenomena in the same way that there is no real face that's in the mirror. It's just a reflection. So you would state the subject, the I, is not inherently existent because it dependently originates. Because it dependently originates, because of this interdependence, it is not truly established. So as we have the various levels of wisdom arise, that wisdom itself is able to serve as an opponent at various levels of power to the grasping at things as being truly established. So this grasping that we have. So we first have the wisdom that is arisen from hearing, from listening, and then this wisdom has an ability to harm and be an opponent to the grasping at true establishment. And then we have the wisdom arisen from analysis or concentration. And then this has a greater ability to harm that grasping at true establishment. And then the wisdom arisen from meditation. And that has the most amount the most ability to harm the grasping at true establishment. So this is how we are able to get rid of that grasping at things as being truly established. And we use that example of the syllogism type way to understand the subject, thesis, reason, or sign, where we state the subject, the I, is not inherently existent because it dependently originates. Because it dependently originates, therefore it's not truly established. So this is how we establish this lack of true establishment or inherent existence, and how we establish emptiness. So we'll take a short break. Lapa Zugu. Okay, so we will find that things are not truly established because they dependently originate. There is nothing that we'll find that doesn't have this dependent origination. We find that there are causes and conditions that are present, that come together or assemble to then create whatever it is, whatever the subject is. So we could use, for instance, the subject, our hand, our arm. So where is our arm? Is this our arm, or is this our arm, or is this our arm? We would have to say that all of these things coming together make what is our arm. And then there are many parts of our arm that then make it our arm. And likewise, a finger. There are many parts of a finger that come together to make it a finger. So then bring it into, it comes into being as a finger. But there is no truly established hand or finger that is separate from this dependent origination. So we can use any subject to understand this fact. So then, for instance, another subject, a book. Many things come together, and then we have a book. Name, sign, signature.
Yeah. Word.
Writing a word, signature.
Signature.
Lesso. So then we look at a signature, for instance. A signature has many things that come together that then you write these parts and then it becomes a signature. So here we see dependent origination as well. All phenomena is similar to this because of dependent origination. Because of dependent origination, there is not true establishment. If we think a lot about this, then we will harm the grasping at true establishment. You would like to ask a question?
Yeah.
I just didn't want to interrupt Rinpoche, but I heard that you wanted a question.
Well, the question was, is it possible, like, if one doesn't ever practice, or if one, like, doesn't talk to anybody and just, like, straight, like, I don't really know how to phrase my question. Can you come back to me?
Yeah, but he's got the microphone. You want me to wait till the end of? It's just we've interrupted class.
I guess.
We're gonna wait till the end, or?
Yeah.
Okay. The tama gats.
And
The tanda that samo
okay,
yapu.
yeah, on the dude. Tanya Bangas, the ball tempers, the bomber.
Less so.
Debal tempers. Debal tempane, Yegi Jabala Subi, Zun Chabatiana, Chugajiton de Baos, Te are Bozang Shubales, Sukanam, what the Yegi Jabala Suba, the Yegi Jabala Suba, Zun Chabatiana, Chugajiton de Batal Debal tempers against Tangazu Teatam, Manaman Mahaman, Uman Pemon, Untara Tudar Turesua, what the heart down to the Remude. What Susula would water. Ta Teatam, Manaman Mahaman, Shaja Tubagun, Shaja to Togale, Yemichingo Santon, Tegala, Hunting Santon, Teatam, Manaman Mahaman is Novaina, Debal Tempers, what the insert is, the Novaina, the Debal Nudis. Then I Oman Bemo Chenrezig Tugal and Hunting good. No woman the baby was hard down with what the Chenrezig the Judici, now Gajiba Chiorita. That didn't do you go there. Hunting good what the hard down by what the devil tempers what there is. Take you what the big tree nerd, the big snow mountain nerd, the big dry nerd, Posunjan. Olympus on Leon.
Less so.
But a metage, she seen it was.
Less so.
Then now, the Jew man, Nanazo, and Yakijabala over Chuajin and Debate Mandam, DB tree nerd, DB Sona Mountain nerd, DB dull nerd,
less so.
Vajana, Wolum Legado.
Less so. So then the number 3 is dependence on recitation. It means to recite according to the rituals the special formula such as the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva. Then the Tantra requested by Sabahu states. So this is referring to engaging in the entire practice that goes with mantric recitation. So that says to the rituals, the special formula, and then such as the 100-syllable mantra of Vajrasattva. So when we're doing mantric recitation, if we're including the visualization, if we're including the visualization of the moon disk, moon mandala disk, that then has a mantra garland of light circumambulating it and letting off rays while we're doing the mantric recitation of that particular deity that we're visualizing, and we're doing the practices of front generation and self-generation of that deity while we're doing the recitation, then this categorically falls under dependence on recitation. For instance, if we're doing the mantra of Buddha Shakyamuni, Teata Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Ye Soha, and then while we're doing this mantra of Shakyamuni, we're engaging in front and self-generation practices, and we're visualizing at the mind, at the heart area, the mantra garland that is being supported by this mandala moon disk. And the mantra garland is the mantra of Buddha Shakyamuni. Then we're engaging in this dependence on recitation using Buddha Shakyamuni. And the same would be for Chenrezig's practice as well, Om Mani Padme Hum, and Tara's practice, Om Tare Tu Re Soha. If we're doing the visualization, front and self-generation practices while we're reciting these mantras, the mantra of the deity, then we're engaging in dependence on recitation. And this goes for any of the mantras and accompanying practices in the 4 classes of Tantra.
What the Amendagata, San Dubata, Dinchu, Kalajaka, Samalwat and Hadu Yorota, then Chenrezig ma tu ji wo de ju de ji na sama na de yo wa ha de na wo de manda mre dibi shin ne no do dibi sono ma de ne no do dibi dal ne no do wo de sanji ke poson son ne wo son ma de
So by doing any of the other deities' practices of the higher tantras, such as Yamantaka or Guhya Samadra, Chakra Sambhava, Kala Chakra, I think Heruka, Rinpoche said, that by doing these, we are also engaging in dependence upon recitation. So below here, we have these three examples that are given that show the power of dependence upon recitation. And by engaging in this practice of reciting mantras while doing the accompanying practices of the moon mandala and the mantra garland of light and front and self-generation, we're able to get rid of our misdeeds. And there are three examples to show how it's done. So here, the first example compares our dependence upon recitation to fire that, when accompanied by ethical discipline and perseverance, burns away our wood of our sins and melts away the snow of our sins and illuminates and then dispels the darkness of our sins. So we'll find these examples given in this tantra requested by Sabahu. So any of these practices then burn up the dry thickets, burn up the dry wood of our sins, and melt the snow of our sins, and illuminate the darkness of our sins. I think so. Rinpoche said it twice, so I translated it twice. So these examples have given in relation to the power of dependence upon recitation, and showing how it's able to be like a fire that burns away the misdeed, the wood of our misdeeds, and melts the snow of our misdeeds, and clears away the darkness, or dispels the darkness of our misdeeds. I could say illuminate too, dispels the darkness of our misdeeds. But all of these antidotes or remedies, all of these six do the same thing. They get rid of the wood of our misdeeds and melt the snow of our misdeeds and illuminate the darkness of our misdeeds.
Deju medike wote debi tree ta debi so ta me tree no marga ne sanction de ne sono maril shana chulhenwa ko shunu an lu bebe ina na hut chando do wote so do pejane deju ji me debi tree chinigre deju ji ne kaza
nimi
sanction debi Deju mame dar sandus
Lesso. So the example that's what is it that burns away the wood? It's actual fire that burns away the wood. So this the dependence upon recitation is like the fire that burns away the wood that is our misdeeds, and is like the sun's rays that melt the snow of our misdeeds, and like the light of a butter lamp, or the lightness that clears away the darkness of our misdeeds.
What they are down with the mom and hand to the Natsundua to do what the pension was they are down with the mom and is what the Sachi Nona Keba Trichiki Debatagaris Sondo.
So it's very easy for us to recite mantras such as Shakyamuni's mantra, Teata Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Ye Soha. And just by reciting this once, we're able to purify, clear away 10,000 eons of our non-virtue. So, can we purify our misdeeds? Are there examples of beings who have done so? And we find the story of Angumala, who met with a bad spiritual teacher and was told to, and then engaged in killing. And he had killed 999 people and then met with the Buddha. And then the Buddha gave him the practice, showed the practice of the four opponent powers to Angumala. And as a result, Angumala did not have to experience the suffering he would have because of killing all of these people. He killed 999 people. He was able to achieve the state of foe destroyer in that lifetime because of relying on the four opponent powers that got rid of or purified his misdeeds. So you find this example in Nagarjuna's letter to a friend, and also many others examples as well of beings who have purified their misdeeds. So how do you know that there has been a purification? We know because there are signs in our dreams that will let us know. And we only engage in this analysis if we are healthy, and we only analyze a specific time of night when we're dreaming. So we don't look at the first part of our dream state. We don't look at the middle part of our dream state. We look at the part right before we wake up, that last part of our dream cycle, last stage of our dream. And if we, first of all, just wake up generally feeling good, generally feeling at ease, and feel as though we had pleasant dreams, then this is a sign that a purification has taken place. If we have dreams that we are drinking yogurt, eating yogurt, or drinking milk, eating good food, climbing a mountain, we see mansions or palaces. All of these are signs that a purification of our misdeeds has taken place. And we see many other examples in the next part of the great treatise in the stage of the path to enlightenment here.
DB Shin DB Suno Martin DB Dal Sanji Pusung Roda. What the Talatana Chadon Jigan and the Shantu Sambatan, Rajet and Yetu, what the Son de Devashadan Jena, Shantu Sambazuge, Niabutoji, Nadiba Shishman, Rajet and Dean, Netuki Chuma Netu, Tanga so what the Sanlu Shichibuna, Dival Shichibun, and then Deans and Deans in Nagare, Chungu in the Chungwa, the danger.
So the level of purification that takes place when the four opponent powers is applied depends upon the practitioner that's applying those four opponent powers and what his or her level is, what their way of thinking is. For instance, the beings who are in the bodhisattvas, their four opponent powers are very powerful, very potent. Because of their way of thinking. The solitary realizers have a medium level of power behind their four opponent powers. And the hearers, or the Shravakas, have a smaller level of power behind their application of the four opponent powers. So it really depends upon the way of thinking. And we can see it's quite easy just to do a mantra and be able to purify our misdeeds by just reciting a few things, by reciting a few words. But the power of the opponent really depends upon the way. The word motivation isn't used, but it's implied in it, in the way of thinking. So the word in Tibetan is tsangmo, which is the way we think, but within that it really is referring to motivation.
What the Tibetan is some of my doing what is Saman and Malana saying about you, but Malan saying about you, but you're not on Dibata Sarva. Saying about you, but you're not on Dibata is teacher. Then Shutuanyalatan Dibatavataris, Omantuan, Orange, Takangajiro, Sujana, or the Putabushita Tonga Euro, what the Sutuanyalatan Dibatavata in Sarwa, Yalan Tanzuna, what the Dibatavataris. That Semane Malana saying about Jubatans, Malana saying about what the saying about Jubatan, Shutuatan. Omantuan, Jubatan, Malan Yamasha, Yalatan Suna, Dibatavatar and Dua, Malan and Dawasha Tonsuna, Dibatavatar and Dua, then the Susan Akaldua, then Yalatan Dibatavatar and Dua, then the Mambawa, Mamba and Yalatan Dibatavataris, Mae the Manapo, Dine, the Tuba Yalatan Suna, what the Dibatavataris, then a gloom me. Trabata Anutine Mobutumba in with the Nilan, with the Debata and water. Gloomy, Ganutuata, Omanju Shita, Omanju Shilan Zayata, Lambachilia, Chujulia, and then Singi Childea, Kazan Dina Zeba, and then Chunia Banalata Sona Debata. Die, but the Kuji is only son those, Haru. Please. What college
So we find these various signs. So I just want to retranslate something from last time. So we can engage in a recitation of mantra, and it will be like a fire that burns away the tree of our misdeeds and and melts the snow of our misdeeds and illuminates the darkness of our misdeeds, or just clears away the darkness of our misdeeds. But our way of thinking makes it more powerful or not. So that was what was connected to that last translation. So now we find the various signs that in our dreams that show we have cleared away our sins. So this presentation is from the formula of exhortation, which is Tantra, found in the Kangjur, pronouncements of Lord Buddha. So we have that here, this text. And it states that the signs are dreaming the following: vomiting bad food, consuming such foods as yogurt and milk, just vomiting in general, or these are all signs that a purification is taken place. Seeing the sun and the moon, so seeing the rays or the sun and the moon, moving through the air, so flying, blazing fires, subduing water buffalo and persons in dark clothing, seeing the community of monks or nuns, seeing a tree that gives out a milky substance, riding upon an elephant or a bull, climbing upon a lion throne, climbing up a mansion or a mountain, and listening to the teaching. So these are all these are signs that a purification has taken place. So this is the power of dependence upon the recitation. Less so. Less so.
What the Tibetan is? Example is a
Less so.
Kuzula Tempane, Sanjila, Tepane, Kuzusheva was Sanjil Tene, and the Sanji statue Zuvatele, or the Zugina Tibetan statue, painting, Kanga.
So that's number 3. So we've gone through first dependence upon profound sutras, second interest in emptiness, number 3 dependence upon recitation, and now 4 dependence upon images. So this says means to make images of the Buddha once you have acquired faith in him. Or her could be translated as, because it's just as a note, there are female Buddhas one could make an image of. So if one is making a statue and has faith in the particular deity or Buddha that one is constructing, then one is engaging in dependence upon images. So it doesn't matter if one is constructing this image out of gold, out of silver, out of iron, out of copper, or making a painting, a religious painting, a shetang, a tanka. Any of this would fall into this category of dependence upon images. So it's making the image of an enlightened being, or of a Buddha. So that's it. Digson.
What the Kuzu was what the Chenrezig Chenrezig Kuzu Judici, not the Tene, the statue to Zubaina, Tibetan Gachiba.
Less so. So, for instance, if one is making the image of Chenrezig, or making the images of any of the deities among the 4 classes of Tantra, then one is engaging in this remedy, or applying this remedy, which is called dependence upon images. And also the Kanja Tenja Zu Gari. And also constructing, making this here, where we have the Kangjur and the Tanjur. So, actually making this by putting it here is constructing it. So then this is also a great level of purification of our misdeeds. So we have this first image in Bodh Gaya that is built, this stupa in Bodh Gaya, image of the Buddha, and then many, many images were constructed after that.
Chobal Temba ne Sanji da Ti Chuden la Choba Nasu Sheba was Sanji da Ti Chuden Tane Choba Damana Momo Ane Gazabri Chudan Chumbutan Chub Motu the Carpia and the Digaruta Kamba da Jala da Monta da Sama Chusu Jala Kariobaina Sama Wate Tambaya Chubapu and the Bejan in Sarvata Chobal Tembas.
Dependence number 5 is dependence on worship, means to make a variety of offering to an image of the Buddha or his stupa. This is referring to making a variety of offerings, such as offering flowers or offering water bowls or foods, or offering even things like your house. So you first get a house, and then you make an offering of that house, and then you use it. But first would make an offering of it, or your car, or any of the things that you have or acquire. You first make an offering of them, and then you use them. If you're doing so, and that offering is to the Buddha or a stupa, then you're engaging in this application of remedy, which is dependence on worship. It could also be dependence on offering. It could really be translated as that. And the gu could be really translated as statue or even body. In dependence on images, could be statue or body. Dependence on body. The under Suriname Rinpoche Serdang Gari. So you can also make an offering of things such as the rivers and oceans and all of the precious things, precious materials such as gold and silver and so forth. So you can make an offering of all of these things as well. And it's also very easy to make an offering at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So before we eat, we say the syllables Om Ah Hom 3 times, and then we say, I offer this to the 3 jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and then we eat. And this is very beneficial.
Senla
Demba. Did Senla Demba.
What the Senla Demba Drobadroa?
Lesson.
That Senla Demba Drobadro, Senla Demba de Duata. And Chubala Demba, Senla Demba ne Sanji Dan, Jessie Chamberdan, Saint Tushes one was. Tadan Hadus Mus Shuan San de Jean Mons. Senla Demba Daka Sanji Dan, Shanju Samba Saint Tu. And the Saint or the Dembaina, Senla Demba is a man, Senla Demba. And the Swanji Dagante, Judy, not Shantu Samba to Sugi, Saint or the Sunga Jambaina, Senla Demba is a man. And the Daji Nujiguna, the Jambaina, Debala Demba.
Lesson.
Debala Demba, Senla Demba.
Sildu.
What is what in Yeah.
So number 6, dependence on names, means to hear the recitation of and retain the names of Buddhas and conquerors' children. These 6 type of remedies are only those that occur in Shantideva's Compendium of Trainings. There are many others. If you are reciting or hearing the names of any of the Buddhas of the 4 classes of Tantra, or bodhisattvas, then you are engaging in dependence on names. If while you're reciting these mantras, you are doing front and self-generation practices that accompany it, then you're doing dependence upon recitation. But if you're merely reciting the mantras without the visualization or practice, then it becomes this category, dependence upon names.
Grandmother, grandfather, shouldn't some of the man the shakers, mother, grandfather, grandmother, mother, father, no, and pull man, some of man the shakers.
So in Tibet, we Tibetans see Chenrezig as our patron deity of Tibet. So everyone recites the mantra. The children recite the mantra, the parents recite the mantra, the grandparents recite the mantra, and there is just this recitation going on. There isn't the Gari Sumbre, okay. That's it. But so there is this recitation going on all of the time because of this dependence we have on Chenrezig as our patron deity. But they're not doing the practices of front and self-generation. They're just reciting the names. The name mantras are words. They don't know these practices. So therefore, we as Tibetans, the Tibetans that are doing this, are doing the applying the remedy called dependence on names, not dependence upon recitation. Less so.
Naga Judan Yantabara Dumba Te Dene Suju Gune Guzunji Ledan Nyomobatan Chuji Diba Sheba Shedu Juba Jesu Yerawa Hunji Sheba Tanjin Jumba Nimi Hibindol Sonsos Shijin Diba Sagamenyabe what the Doncent Jeba Ina and Hechi Saja with Debak Jong Debak Nunes. You meet him in Dolusundu,
so we've gone over.
Okay. Ancient Loon, what in the
Go ahead, Bachik. So we've gone over the power of eradication. We've gone over the power of applying remedies, and now we're at the section on the power of turning away from faults. So this is a commitment not to engage in the negativity again after you have committed it. So it says here, the third power is actually restraining yourself from the 10 non-virtuous actions. In the Sun Essence Sutra, the Buddha said that this restraint destroys all karma, afflictions, and obscurations of the teaching created physically, verbally, or mentally by way of killing and the like. The third power eliminates bad actions that you have previously created yourself, caused others to create, or have rejoiced in others creating. Confession that lacks an attitude of wholehearted restraint becomes merely words. And then we have a quote. It says, Dharma Mitri's commentary on the Sutra on Discipline explains that the Buddha was thinking of this fact when he said in Scripture, is there subsequent restraint? Therefore, it is very important to have an attitude of restraint within which you have conviction not to commit that action again. Moreover, the development of this attitude depends upon the first power. So, power, and that's referring to the first opponent power.
And Deva Susu Sabatil Nundugre, Jen la Saju Batil Nundugres, Jen Sabal Jesu Ranjibatil Nundugres, what the Tanji Jungres, Yamin Bidul Sundus.
So first, you generate this first power, this sense of regret for having done a non-virtuous activity or caused someone else to create or rejoiced in the creation of. So this becomes the first part of the process, is regretting having done this thing, and then this commitment takes place to not do it again. So first you have a regret for having done it.
What the Divasaga man have shit happened, Mabaji, and Shadan Jena, Shadan sees on the Druris, Shabba Roma,
So if you do not have this idea that you will restrain yourself from non-virtue, these non-virtues, then the acknowledgement of your downfalls, your confession, Dipashava, confession of misdeeds, won't be very powerful. Won't be very powerful. It's almost like won't work. Between won't be powerful and won't work, so it just won't work.
我的毛个男的我수중出我的年报通世界来不动嘛是这个意思年报因为通是呢年报因为写中是东安因为过中是写通是世界来不动嘛世界他这个因为是动嘛他世界这个没是动嘛是了努力送把的多加些这个送都是的
So in the Sojung, the monks and nuns do, which is from the Vinaya Sutra, the Sutra on Discipline, we find a series of questions that are asked that state, did you do this offense? Do you know that it was wrong? Do you regret this offense? And do you have, is there subsequent restraint? So within this part of the ceremony, there is this question and answer period, and the last one is, do you have subsequent restraint? Meaning, are you committing to not do this again? So this becomes an important facet in this four opponent powers.
또 송바지 다또 저바 정도도 세제 공부도 말이야. 내가 또 저바데 정도도 세제 공부.
Less so.
세제 공부 아이지를 보니까 부도 담아서 정도 말이야.
Less so.
근데 우리 세제를
Less so.
정도 세제니들이.
Less so. So then the last power is called the power of the foundation, or the power of the basis. And this is referring to refuge, first of all. And we've gone over refuge quite a bit. And then generating the mind that aspires to enlightenment, or bodhicitta. So that comes later on in the text, the bodhicitta topic. Do you still have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, then Kontriwa, you're it.
Okay.
I guess is it so I guess my question is if you try hard enough it's gonna sound like a really silly question, but if you try hard enough like after you do all of these things that have like because that you probably thought if you do a lot of things that you collectively look at as extremely terrible, and then you go through all of the steps, will you actually find peace and and will you ever be tempted to go back on those commitments and do it again?
So the question is if you've done a lot of really bad things in the past, and you acknowledge that they're bad, and then go through these steps, we're talking about the four opponent powers, will you find peace, is the first question. And if you do these steps, is it possible that you could regress and go back to that bad behavior again?
Yeah.
Okay. Kon triwa kasha yure. Tambo, the ngama kon the deepa mambo saso. And then the kon the tsampa the yapio mare. Then the sem sheda chipa yo mare, shiwa yo mare. Then kon triwa tambo, the nepo doje, the nyanlan chena, shiwa yongre. Gangin sena the sem tanda sen chipa yo mare, gangin sena the deepa saso. Then the drogurebe.
다 디바사선 조바제바 이나 세테 마치나 주요로다.
Less so.
제도 어디 거와리들로 거와.
Less so.
어디 디바노노.
Len iene the kon sen the sheda chipa yo mare, the neighbor dorje the ropa chere the pen togdu.
네버 도제.
Neighbor dorje nyalan chena, gangin sena the kon the sen the sheda chipa yo mare. The sen judu. Then they drogurebe neighbor dorje nyalan chena.
네버 도제 냐래 제게 나타는 디바타나 동에 매버레 그래 니왈 제거 말에 예달 제거 말에 돈을 제거 말에 말 제거래 할 제거래 타바 토거래 어떤 산단한데 가면 오듯이
Less so. Then the triwa nipa. Then ngatsu the ngama deepa saso. Then ngatsu the shipo nyalan shipo jang. The nyepo dorje shipo jang. Jema ngatsu yanje deepa sagarebe. Kon triwa.
Diva Sagar, da Sagar Sagar Sagi, Diva Sagarota, Diva the Jajuma Matuba, the Gali Cabro,
Then
Diva Sagi Shana, Jigi, Nyandu,
less so. So first of all, if you've done things that are wrong and you have a regret for them, then this is actually virtuous. Now, this is not, with this word in Tibetan, regret, is not guilt. It's very different. It's an intellectual acknowledgement that what you've done is not good. It isn't a state of depression or guilt. So I just want to make that clear within the word regret in Tibetan, that you have for what we're talking about for having done a non-virtue is virtue itself, because you're acknowledging the opposite of non-virtue, which is virtue. So that is actually a virtuous state of mind. And by applying the four opponent powers, you'll be able to. So I asked him if you would have a lasting peace of mind. And Rinpoche said, well, I can't say that for sure in this specific lifetime that that's the result. But the result of the application of the four opponent powers is that all suffering will be eventually removed by utilizing those practices. That you won't have to have the suffering of rebirth in the lower realms. You'll have the happiness of the higher realms of cyclic existence, of the gods and humans and so forth. You'll be able to achieve the state of liberation from cyclic existence and suffering altogether. You'll be able to achieve the state of Buddhahood at the highest level of happiness. So those four opponent powers will be able to transform your negative states into states of happiness, certainly. So the answer to the question is at a kind of a grander level than just this specific moment. But yes, it will lead to happiness because it's virtue, and virtue produces happiness. Now, whether or not you can abstain from these activities in the future, again, is difficult also. Because unless you're a foe destroyer means the foe is translated as enemy, and that's the afflictions, and destroyer is obvious. It's one who has destroyed the afflictions. So unless you are a foe destroyer, have destroyed the afflictions, then you still will accumulate non-virtue. So it's kind of a process where you engage in virtue, and then you stumble and create some sort of non-virtue, then you have regret for it, and you engage in practice, and then you are evolving in this kind of way in a positive motion. But to just become perfect, or to think that by just declaring these non-virtues and applying antidotes will make it so that you don't do similar behaviors in the future, it's difficult, because we have these afflictions that arise, and until we get rid of them all, we don't have that kind of control or certainty.
Thank you.
That answer your question? Decent.
Yeah.
So that's it. We'll do the concluding mandala offering and dedication prayer. Detachang.
Yeah.
The fundamental ground is scented with incense and strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha land and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure realm. I dedicate whatever virtues I have collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of Venerable Losang Drapa to shine forever. I send forth this jeweled mandala to you, precious Guru. I dedicate all this virtue to emulate the knowledge of the hero Manjushri, and likewise Samantabhadra as well. Whatever dedication is praised as supreme by all the conquerors who traverse 3 times, I also dedicate all my roots of virtue for the sake of auspicious deeds. In that pure land, surrounded by snowy mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness. All-powerful Avalokiteshvara Tenzin Gyatso, may you stay until samsara's end. I pray for the long life of the precious Khensur Wanda, upholder of scriptural and realizational doctrines, the spiritual friend who trained extensively in the 5 great philosophical texts with exceptional wisdom and perseverance. Tuji Rinpoche Guti Shapi Tenro Nang, Atsu Lamrim